We are following some breaking news right now. The Allegan County Undersheriff just announcing that his crews found a body in Allegan County yesterday. Now, the big question right now is whether the body could be that of missing teacher from Portage, Teresa Lockhart. She's been missing since May. Her husband, Chris Lockhart, the person of interest in the case, was found dead by a possible suicide yesterday. Now, this news conference just happened moments ago with the Allegan County Undersheriff, Mike Larson. He said that his crews found a body yesterday after they received a tip. We want to play that conference for you right now.
Yesterday, October 24th at around 2 p.m., the Allegan County Sheriff's Office received a tip that there may be a body that had been buried in a remote area of Valley Township in Allegan County. Allegan County detectives went to that area, and after a diligent search, they were able to find a partially buried body that appears to have been there for quite some time. That body has since been sent to Western Michigan University for an autopsy and hopefully identification.
In this investigation, obviously you said there's still a lot that you can't answer in this, but obviously the big question people are asking is this related to the Teresa Lockhart case?
Until we have identification, we don't know that. We do believe that we don't have any missing persons in Allegan County that would have fit this description. Obviously, she came up missing in a different county, so we can't make that assumption either at this point, and we're hoping that we can have identification soon.
Talk about the efforts to find this body. You said you got it from a tip. You're not saying where that tip came from, but talk about the efforts. Were you working with Portage Police to uncover this?
Once the tip came in from detectives, at that point they immediately went to the area due to the weather and the remoteness of that area and the time of day. They knew that there wasn't a lot of daylight left, so obviously the first efforts were to get to that area, try to find if there was indeed a body located there. It appears as though at one point it was probably fully buried, but due to the immense rain that we've had lately and the fact that it was shallow, it was partially uncovered. We don't believe that there was any identification found at the scene that could lead us to any conclusions, and therefore we're waiting for autopsy.
Any sign of trauma to the body?
It appears as though it had been there for quite some time. There was a significant amount of decomposition, and due to the fact that it was partially buried in a very muddy environment, that's what we'll have to wait for the pathologist to tell us.
Obviously you can't say who or where this came from, but when did you guys get this tip? When did you find the body?
The tip came in around 2 p.m. yesterday, and the body was located probably within a couple hours. And then by the time that we had evidence techs, and then we called Western Michigan University, who we use for our autopsies anyway, they sent up an anthropologist to help finish recovering the body.
And you said Valley Township, is that the area that was around 46? What area was that?
It was just west of Swan Creek.
Swan Creek or Swan?
Swan, yep.
Obviously in this investigation, still unsure whose body, what this is connected to. Not many missing reports here, but are you still working with Portage Police in this investigation? Are they getting those results as well?
We have communicated with them as to our findings. They're obviously using the information that they've been able to gain from the events that they had to deal with yesterday, and we'll be in communication all the way through autopsy.
So were there detectives on scene with you yesterday?
No, they were not.
And I mean, this is a huge tip to get some sort of tip. You go and you do a search and you uncover a body. How common is that you get a tip like this and that it turns into something even as serious as this?
It's a rare event. Unfortunately, in today's society, social media, things getting blown out of proportion, you have to vet those tips, and this one had enough credibility with it that we would have gone anyway. However, we knew that we were going to allocate resources to follow this all the way through with a high likelihood of this being true. But it's not a common occurrence, thankfully.
Are there other areas you're currently investigating, or will you be going back out to that scene at all today?
We believe that we've covered everything that we need to cover out there. We haven't found anything that suggests we need to look in other areas. So at this point, unless something from the pathologist comes back that leads us to that area, when the weather clears, obviously we'll go back out and we'll sweep the area just to make sure that we didn't miss anything. The guys were out there in some pretty poor conditions last night and did a great job in getting us to this point. And if anything points to more information that we would need, then we'll go back.
We were told it was rural. How far out was it? I mean, how did they get back there? What was that process like?
There's a lot of trails that do go through the Allegan Woods. The High Banks area, the Swan Creek area is open to the public for hunting in some areas, so there are a fair amount of trails. As far as primary roads, though, it's pretty remote.
You can't say, obviously, the tip. You can't say if this is involved in Teresa Lockhart's case. But like Jessica's mentioning, this is, a rural area. Does this seem like this death is suspicious?
Absolutely. It does not appear that this was self-inflicted wounds or suicide because of the fact that it was partially buried. So absolutely, we do suspect foul play.
Is this something you'll continue investigating, or are you handing some of this over to Portage?
Well, it's going to depend on what we hear from the pathologist. If it is connected to Portage's case, obviously we'll turn everything over to them. If a crime did not was not committed in Allegan County other than the disposal of that body, one of our primary fears would be is if there's other people involved and accomplices, and again, we have nothing that tells us this is directly connected.
Again, that was the Allegan County Undersheriff Mike Larson just updating us moments ago about a body his crews found in Allegan County. They found it in Valley Township. That's near Allegan, and they found it just west of Swan Creek. Now, Undersheriff Larson saying that the body looked like it had been there for quite some time. It had significant decomposition. It was sent to Western Michigan University for an autopsy and identification. That's what we're waiting on right now. Now, the big question which remains unanswered that Undersheriff Larson could not answer is whether or not this is Teresa Lockhart, the missing teacher from Portage, who's been missing since May. Her husband, Christopher Lockhart, was found dead yesterday of a possible suicide. Now, of course, this is something that we are all over. If you'd like the very latest on the Lockhart investigation, the timeline of her disappearance, you can head over to woodtv.com. For now, we'll return you to the Today Show.